Well, hey folks, it's your old pal King Waspinator. Welcome back to Total Party Skills. Today will be the 11th session of my sprawling, epic Spelljammer campaign. And will be the first session where our player characters are going to get to have a proper ship-to-ship battle with some Githyanki pirates. Now, my style of DMing, especially with Dungeons & Dragons, is I will pull stuff out of all sorts of random modules and kind of, create this weird Frankenstein piecemeal thing. It helps save time coming up with encounters or names for things, and also kind of allows me to have like a randomized element where there's stuff that I wasn't necessarily planning on for sure being in there to end up popping up in there, and as things goes along, you get permutations off that, so on and so forth. One of the things I've been doing so far is basically I took the ship encounter tables out of the new Spelljammer set, and I've been just kind of repurposing all the ships mentioned to have, some role to play in the setting as I'm running it. Some hostile, not all though. But, they rolled in a counter for the Githyanki pirates. Because of my own weird, long backstory I have for Cryovane from the Dragon of Icespire Peak module that I ran a campaign for, and I'm kind of softball using the Spelljammer campaign to sequelize that because Cryovane survived, managed to escape from Toril with the Horde of the Dragon Queen with the help of Githyanki pirates. And so even though she set herself up on the moon of Nintir for the last 10 years and has been, living in quiet, using a fake cult of the dragon and worship of Tiamat to manipulate minotaurs into controlling the planet for her, because the player characters being on the moon and some stuff going on with some lunar dragon hatchlings that she wants to get a hold of, she's brought her old Githyanki pirate friends back into the fold, and now they're about to attack our player character's heavily damaged old lamprey ship that has no weapons and about half its hit points gone. Thankfully, the player characters are split into two groups. One group went off with some representatives of the cloud giants that rule the gas giant Nen that the moon of Nintir orbits around. And so, if things go south badly in today's session for the characters on the ship, it's not a wipeout of any sorts. It's just, well, I guess y'all are going to have to stick with these characters until you can build up a new crew to surround yourselves with of sidekicks and hirelings. But, I don't know, the Fed Fencer encounter is like way over their pay grade, the way it was written. I've tried to tone it down a little bit. I've replaced the Xenomancer with just a Flame Skull, who I'm going to say was a Xenomancer that they're using as their helmsman, in a way similar to how they're using Mordenkainen's brain in a jar to navigate their own ship so they don't have to waste a player character sitting in the helm all the time. I've turned the Captain Yaj into a white, as in W-I-G-H-T, not W-H-I-T-E, Githyanki. Her payment from Cryovane, who learned necromancy from the Wizards of Thay before she escaped to avoid becoming a Draco Lich. Her payment to the Githyanki was to make their captain an immortal undead. And so, the captain's going to be a white and is mostly just going to rely on life drain. I'm going to keep 4 of the crew as Githyanki Buccaneers, as is. They're going to be the harder guys because they get multi-attacks with giant swords, or they can do a bunch of force bolt throwing shit like some fucking Jedi out of episode 1 and kind of stuff. The highest level player character in this encounter on the player side is level 2. So I took the rest of the Githyanki and just turn them into Githyanki zombies, who are, just mindless crewmen who operate the ballista and the mangonel. And I'm going to leave it up to them whether they want to try to stand and fight, or try to surrender, or try to rig a run for it. And I got everything kind of mapped out how those will go. If they run, that's going to be a long, arduous process of ships, slowly inching towards each other until one decides to try to slow down enough to, stabilize their position, fire their weapons. The mangonel gives you the best range, the best damage, but it also is like a full 2-minute cycle in between being able to fire. So there's going to be like a lot of kind of stuff going on with that. It's only got 10 shots, so unless I roll really heinously when it comes to damage, they might be able to survive through that. And at that point, they're going to use the mangonel to try to physically launch a couple of the Buccaneers onto the ship. Because they have Misty Step and Plane Shift, the idea is like, they can basically teleport themselves at the last minute onto the deck of the ship after being thrown towards it. They just need to get within range, and then that way they can kill their momentum and not just splatter into the thing and take damage themselves. And then we can have a bit more of a contained fight where the players are not going to have to face them all at once. They can take them down one at a time. If they try to stand and fight, you're going to have, Githyanki Buccaneers and a Githyanki White just teleport onto the deck of the ship and start kicking ass. The goal of one of the Buccaneers is to just march straight downstairs to the navigator's helm, unplug Mordenkainen, and then all the Githyanki will just plane shift off the ship and let it fall to its destruction. Because, there's no one ready and attuned to the helm to hop into it and stop the ship in time from crashing. Which, high likelihood of taking out everyone on the ship, depending on what their altitude is at the time. And if they surrender, since the Githyanki are looking for a lunar dragon hatchling, and there is none of that on board the ship, if the characters allow them to inspect it, they won't necessarily, slay them all right then and there. Because Mordenkainen's brain in the jar is a product of Illithid technology, though, they are going to want to confiscate that. So my idea is basically they'll escort them up into orbit so that they can pull Mordenkainen out of the helm without causing the ship to immediately crash to the ground, giving somebody enough time to take the seat and attune themselves so they can actually properly steer the ship again. And basically just tell them to get the fuck out of here. This world isn't your concern, humans, kind of a thing. So, I don't know. That's the plan. We'll see how much of that actually manifests. I do have a ace in the hole Millennium Falcon moment if they can actually hold on long enough. I mean, if they get taken out too quick, too fucking bad. But if they're having some long, slow, epic struggle, I'm going to have it that the Wasp ship that they had been traveling on previously in previous sessions with a hobgoblin commander named Captain Cruel, I'm going to have him show up at the last second and, just to harass the Githyanki ship and hopefully give them enough of an opening where they might be able to escape and or win or whatever it is that I want them to do at that moment. But like I said, that's not a guaranteed moment. I don't have any specific conditions. I just, if it feels right, it'll happen. But I have that there in the cards. I don't want my player characters to all get killed, but I also want them to feel the danger. And if half the group ends up getting wiped out today, then so be it. So, like I said, we'll find out. And until next time, you can find out by hitting like and subscribe and staying waspinated.